Hello everyone, I'm Natty, standing in for Tim Newton, and this is Asia News Today. Tens of millions of people in China are under lockdown, including the largest city, Shanghai. Thailand's infection numbers continue to creep up, already much higher than at their peak last year. Hong Kong morgues are overwhelmed and patients are being turned away from hospitals. In South Korea, health authorities are reporting the most cases per capita in the world. Vietnam is also reporting record case numbers, being in the top 5 for total infections globally over the past few days. In other parts of Asia, the story is slightly different, with the worst of their Omicron surge seemingly in the rear view mirror. Over the past 2 years, places like Singapore, South Korea, and even China were reported as COVID-19 success stories. Their stringent and even draconian border rules helping them to keep cases numbers low. The total deaths, too, when compared to much of the rest of the world. And a bit further south, there were very low infection rates in Australia and New Zealand before the Omicron variant overwhelmed their earlier defenses. How this has happened is the topic of a special Asia News Today report over the weekend on the Thaiger YouTube channel called Asia in the COVID Twilight Zone. Now on to today's main news stories. Yesterday, in a highly staged and provocative war game scenario, U.S. and Filipino Marines leaped out of amphibious vehicles and helicopters to defend an island, in this case a northern Filipino island, from potential aggressors in a pointed war exercise and show of American firepower. The exercise was staged in Claveria town on a beach facing both China and Taiwan, a clear message being sent from both the Philippine and U.S. governments on addressing China's growing influence and ambitions and its claims over Taiwan. The mock combat had a happy ending for the Allied forces, who were able to successfully defend the island before it could be seized by unnamed invaders. Called Balikatan, the Filipino word for shoulder to shoulder, the annual exercises will continue up to April 8th with nearly 9,000 Navy, Marines, Air Force, and Army troops taking part in what U.S. and Filipino military officials are calling real-world changes. There were 5,100 American military personnel involved in the latest highly publicized example of saber rattling over the thorny South China Sea and Taiwan issues. Last week, the U.S. Indo-Pacific commander said that China had fully militarized at least 3 of the islands it constructed in the South China Sea and claimed they'd armed them with anti-ship and anti-aircraft missile systems, laser and jamming equipment. During a meeting with the Russian foreign minister in China, the Indonesian foreign minister Retno Marsudi has pressed Moscow to end its 5-week war with Ukraine. She spoke about the urgent humanitarian situation in Ukraine and the ripple effects on neighboring countries and the global economy. The comments are a walk back from Indonesia's earlier neutral stance on the conflict. She said Indonesia conveyed the importance of ending the war immediately because of its tremendous humanitarian impact, not to mention its impact on global economic recovery. Whilst in Beijing, she also spoke to the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, asking Beijing to support efforts to end the Russian invasion. She later told reporters that she conveyed the importance of all parties, including China, to push for an immediate end to the war. Since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th, more than 4 million Ukrainians have fled the country, according to UN figures. Now for a special Asia News Today report about Sri Lanka. As of yesterday, diesel is almost impossible to find at gas stations across Sri Lanka. Petrol is on sale but in short supply, with many drivers waiting in long queues, abandoning their cars. Private businesses say they've already run out of fuel, and even skeleton services may not be possible in retail stores and offices after today. Now Sri Lanka is grappling with a 13-hour power blackout, the longest outage ever recorded. The state-owned electricity supplier reports that it will be forced to enforce a 13-hour power cut that started yesterday because they didn't have diesel for generators. Many of the country's public hospitals have now been forced to stop surgeries because they've run out of critical life-saving medicines. This is on top of a shortage of essential goods and high price spikes caused by a broad import ban imposed in 2020 due to Sri Lanka's debt. One electricity board chairman says that hydro reservoirs, which provide more than a third of electricity, are now dangerously low, with the country's annual wet season not fully expected until July. The power outages have prompted enraged protests across Sri Lanka as hundreds of drivers continue to block main roads in several towns. The chairman of the private bus operators say that buses won't be able to run if they don't get supplies urgently. South Korea's constitutional court has upheld a ban on tattooing, confirming South Korea as the only developed country that only allows fully qualified medical professionals to perform tattoo procedures. Tattoo artists who largely work in South Korea's underground economy have criticized the decision, describing it as backwards and lacking cultural understanding. Despite the long-standing ban, South Korea has nearly 50,000 tattoo artists who face police raids and daily prosecution for conducting their businesses. Violating the ban is punishable with fines around $41,300 as well as draconian prison terms up to a full life sentence. In a 5-4 vote, the Constitutional Court ruled on Thursday that the law was constitutional. It dismissed the suit, saying tattooing brings potential side effects and safety issues. While tattoos have to be covered up on Korean television, many celebrities, including members of K-pop bands, are now flaunting them. Most notably, Jungkook from South Korean superstars BTS has openly displayed his growing number of tattoos as part of the world's biggest music act. But President-elect Yoon expressed support for legalizing so-called cosmetic tattoos, semi-permanent and popular for enhancing eyebrows, eyelines, and hairlines. And you're all caught up now. Thank you for watching Asian News Today. Have a wonderful weekend ahead.
Good Morning Thailand gets up to 80,000 viewers per week, and we'd like to weaponise our audience for you.
That's right. So if you have a business or property or even your house that you'd like to sell,
Private yacht?
yeah, we could be in space.
I'm not sure about space.
Well, all you have to do is contact us on info@thethaiger.com, and you can hire us up to a day or even a week, and we'll go to your property and do the show live.
Good Morning Thailand, coming your way.